Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today we are back once again in Blender. I appear to have gotten my audio issues sorted out, so we should have much better audio in today's video. Today we're going to be working on a handcart. We did the wheelbarrow yesterday, so I'm going to see if I can find a handcart. And we'll see what we can find. There we go. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Something like that. Or, yeah, maybe something like that. Probably with a little longer handles. But I'm definitely looking for a two-wheeled conveyance. So this will be kind of like a larger wheelbarrow. Yeah, something kind of like that. Intended to be pulled behind, sort of thing. And you know, kind of used as a large, I guess that's a Chinese one, but similar concept. That one's very fancy. There we go. Carts. That one's very similar to how I'd want to make it, except for it's, I don't know, it's a little high, I guess. I'm kind of thinking, gonna make this one a little lower, so you know the wheels kind of up, and kind of come alongside the wheel. So, that one's not too bad either. Although I don't like this crossbar there, because trying to get in with a game could be a little tricky. So that's a little model. That's not bad either, but that looks kind of very much like the wheelbarrow that we made yesterday. So that one is also not bad. And that's a little closer to the size that I'm thinking, because I definitely don't want this so big that it's you know, that it's difficult to pull. Oh, that's a charm. That's not it either. Boy, there's a lot of stuff. Let's go back up here, and I'm just gonna grab, what one was it? That's very similar. I guess let's go with that one, although that's got that crossbar as well. It seems a lot of them do. Let's, I guess, go with something like this, and we'll just kind of use that as a reference photo. Oh, that one's a good one too. All right, let's go ahead and we will save that. And we're just going to put this in our downloads folder, and we're going to call this handcart reference. All right, and then we'll go ahead and jump back into here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll get into the correct perspective, and we'll add a image. And we're going to go downloads, and we're going to go handcart reference, and we'll add that. Okay, perfect. And then let's see here, 2 meters or a meter. A meter square is going to be a meter. Let's see if there's a measuring tool in here. Measure, there we go. Okay, so that's definitely 2 meters then. Alright, so that's, oh goodness. It's like 6 3/4 feet or so. And that's probably a little bit too big compared to what I actually want it to be. So I'm going to go 0.75. There we go. And that'll be a little closer to how big I'm looking for as far as the length goes. So now we can go ahead and get into here. Let's move this backwards some. There we go, so it's not in the way. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to mirror this as we always do. And we're going to delete the faces. Oops, no. Delete vertices. There we go. Alright. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add our modifier over here, the generate mirror modifier. There we go. Perfect. And then we can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to grab this top face and we're going to bring this one down because I kind of want to establish like the base of the cart. There we go. And then these are generally not as wide as they are long, so I'm going to drag this one in to get a little bit more of a, there we go, give a little bit more of a rectangular shape there. And if we look at this picture, we can kind of see there's got like this axle support or arm that comes down that actually holds the axle here. So I'm going to go ahead and let's build the box first, I suppose, on the top here. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. Although, no, the base is a good height there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this then, and we're going to use Shift D to duplicate, and then we're going to rotate on the Y 90 degrees to bring that like so, and we're going to extrude upwards to make the walls. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll go back to wireframe to make for easy selection here. Whoops. That's not what we're looking for. Select box. There we go. Alright. And then we'll move this back to solid because it's a little easier. And I'm going to go here. And we'll just kind of go like that. That's maybe a little too low. There we go. Alright, and then I'm gonna, we'll move this in slightly. Oops, let's go on the x-axis. Like so, there we go. And then this is very wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just select this one and move that in about like so. Alright. Oh. There we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and we'll move this in again slightly. There we go. Just to give it a little bit more of an overlap there to match this portion of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll select just this face and Shift D to duplicate it. There we go. And then we'll rotate 90 on the Z. And we'll extrude like so. Doesn't look like my modifier's working properly. There we go. Let's turn clipping on. And we're going to go. There we go, like that. Alright. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab those. Go. And then we're going to go ahead and drag that down slightly. There we go. So that we've got a little bit more of a cross there. And then I'm not sure if I want to do one in the back. Actually, I think I'm going to do one in the back, but I'm going to make it slightly shorter to make it easier to get things in and out. So we're just going to go Shift D and move this back on the Y. There we go. And then we'll grab this one. Oops. No, not that. G. There we go. And move it down to about a half board. There we go. Okay. So that's got our box more or less set up. I'm going to grab all of these and move this up slightly. There we go. So that it's more kind of in line with that origin. And then I'm going to go ahead and we will make ourselves some handles. So go ahead and we'll add a cube. And I'm going to turn off clipping. And I'll move those over. There we go. Something like that. That's perhaps even, no, that's not bad. Go ahead and turn this back on. Oops, there we go. And we're going to need this one. And we'll bring this out to about there or so, and then it starts getting that shaved down, rounded look. And I guess if we look at the picture here, it doesn't look like that axle goes, or this handle goes all the way down there. So I'm not sure if I'll run that all the way back or not. I might just leave those right about there. Let's grab that and move that forward. There we go. And then we'll have the axle supports come down from there. Alright. Let's go ahead and we'll extrude this out because I do want like a break in the handle, so to speak. I want to give these nice long handles for extra leverage and better turning control. And then I'm going to go ahead and we will do a couple things here. We're going to loop cut this way, and we'll loop cut this way as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll put that in there. And then we're going to grab these and we're going to go 1 and we're going to scale not on the Y, so we'll go shift Y. There we go. And that gives us that that graduation down from a square down to a roundish. I guess it'd be an octagon technically, but and then I'm going to go ahead and we'll loop cut because I want to get that handle sort of finish to it. You know, and it's got like a little bit of an upward bow there. So let's go ahead and I'm going to move this one and this one up slightly. Like so. And then I'm going to grab those. I'm going to scale this slightly. Move it up slightly on, oops. Just grab those, there we go. Move it up slightly on the Z axis, and then I'm also going to rotate it slightly. There we go. And I'm gonna grab this vertex. Oops. And we're gonna move that out about like so. And then we're going to triangulate these faces. There we go, perfect. Alright, so that's got our handles made. We're going to go ahead and we'll put this support in. So I'm going to grab this one, I guess, and we'll duplicate this and move it backwards on the Y. Scale it on the Y as well. Scale it on the X to make it a little wider to provide that support. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll extrude this down like so. Scale it on the Y to kind of give it that triangular shape to it that we can see there. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to select all of this. There we go. And we're going to move it up and into position. Right about there, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, that'll work quite nicely there. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll put a loop cut in right there. And I'm not sure whether this will be easier to just split it right there or whether it'll be, let's do this. There we go. We'll do like that and like this. There we go. And then I'm going to shift D and we'll move this out on the X. And then I'm going to take these and we'll delete those. There we go. And then I'm going to, oops, we'll grab these. And there should be, there we go, new face. And then we'll do the same from these. Just hit F to make a new face from the edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put a couple of loop cuts in here. There we go. And I'm going to grab this one. I needed an extra one in there. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and we'll grab this face and we'll move it up about like so. And then we'll do the same for here. There we go. And we'll move this one down. That's still not quite the size that we need. Let's go ahead and we'll grab oops. Oh, there we go, that's why. It's like, why isn't it selecting? Grab that one and that one. And we're going to scale these on the Z. There we go. And then I'm going to scale them on the Y as well. There we go. That's better. Alright. And then I'm going to go ahead and nope. There we go. We'll grab all of this and we're going to move it on the X back underneath this. Like so. There we go. And then you'd have like some bolts or something that would go up, or some straps on either side here to hold those pieces together. And that would allow for a serviceable axle there. Alright, I think that's good there. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add an axle. So we're going to go for circle, and then we're going to go for 8 sides, and we only need a small circle. Let's bring this up slightly so that I can kind of see where that's at. Oh yeah, that's much too small. That's much too big. Let's go ahead and we'll add this with an n-gon. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this outward on the X. There we go. We're going to rotate it on the Y. There we go. And we're going to move this down on the Z. Oops. There we go. And we'll just kind of judge that size and see whether that's there we go. That's probably about the right size. Let's move this back slightly on the Y-axis and upwards on the Z-axis. And we'll just see, yeah, that works. Let's bring this down. Oops. Oops. There we go. I think that'll work nicely right there. Alright, and then we'll just kind of grab this and move it and center it. There we go, till we get it fit into there nicely. Although you probably honestly have the wheel rotate, yeah, and this axle would be fixed, so we can always turn this up and lock it in if we need to. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll grab that, and I'm gonna extrude this on the X to bring it into the middle there. And then we'll move this on the X and move it outward some so that we get our axle running all the way through. There we go. Alright, and then we've got to see about making these wheels. So because this is a game asset, I'm going to move this out to move out, and we'll add a second object here. So I'm going to move this one backwards on the x-axis here, so that it doesn't get in the way of our modeling right here, because I'm going to have to add and fool with this modifier again. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add a mesh, and we're going to do a cylinder on this one. And this one's obviously way too big. I'm going to bring this down to 5 sides. Actually, let's go with 7, because it helps to break up the hexagon appearance if you have an odd number. And it makes it feel a little bit more like a circle while still keeping the count low. And we're going to bring radius down to 0.04. And even that's probably a little too big. Let's go 0.03. There we go. And then for depth, we really only need even that's probably a little too big. That's close. Let's go with a 0.7. Nope. 0.6, perfect. We'll go with that. And then we're going to leave it as an n-gon cap. And we're going to go ahead and jump into here. So then to get this to work properly, we're going to bring this up. There we go. So that it's kind of centered around that point. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll see if we can use this same array modifier. And we're going to go for an object offset. And we don't want them to merge. I'm going to go ahead and we'll add, and we're going to add an empty. And we'll just do this as a plain axis. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this object offset. And we're going to go object empty 01. There we go. And then let's see here. I want like 16 spokes or so. It looks like there's actually one missing here. Yeah, there's definitely one missing there. So 2, 3. Let's go with like 16. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab this one and rotate it on the X. There we go. And we'll rotate this around. How much is this? Oh, we've got 16. So we've got to do some math here. We've got 360 and divide that by 16. There's 22.5. So if we rotate this, then there we go, just like that. And we'll end up with all of the spokes kind of going out kind of nicely there. That worked much smoother and faster than last time. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll get into here. And actually, it'll almost be easier to do this with a square. So I'm gonna delete all of these. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and we'll add a plane. There we go. And we don't want it that big. So let's go 0.04. There we go. And then we're gonna move it up. There's some really beautiful. There we go, like that. And even that's maybe a little bit too big. Let's scale these down some. There we go. And then we'll bring this down on the Z. It's about the right size for the hub there. There we go. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and we'll extrude this up some. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll extrude it again. Like so. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll put a loop cut in right about there. And then we'll put those in, and then we're going to grab these and I'm going to shave those down to the octagon again. So we're going to go scale shift Z. There we go. And we'll bring that down. And that gives us a nice spoked finish to that. I suppose if we wanted to, we could make these kind of fancy, but I'm just going to leave it right like that. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab, let's do this. We're going to grab those and we're going to duplicate this. And we're going to move it up on the Z, like so. And then let's actually move this down on the Z slightly so that it intersects. There we go, like that. And then we're going to scale this on the Y. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab these. There we go, like that. And then I'm going to do the same with these. Something like that. There we go. They don't quite, so I'm going to match these up a little better. There we go. And that's matching up quite nicely there. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll just grab these and we'll extrude them till we get the wagon wheel outer portion there. And then we're going to go ahead and scale them on the Y till those overlap. Perfect. And there we go. We've got a nice wagon wheel. I'm going to bring these out slightly as well. So I'm going to scale these on the X so that we get a nice rim around the outside of it. There we go. And then I'm gonna leave the array modifier here for right now because I'm gonna have to apply this at some point. I don't remember exactly what to press to get those to apply and actually create this shape. So I'm just gonna go ahead and we'll tab back out of there, and I'm gonna basically produce this circle as a second option here, or as a third object. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll add a cylinder, and we're going to rotate this one. I'm going to go for, again, 8 sides. Let's go for 16 on this one because we do have 16 spokes. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll make this one have a radius of 0.08. There we go. And then we're going to rotate this one on the y-axis. Y-axis. There we go. And then needs to be just a little bigger. That's not terrible. Let's bring this down to 0.10. There we go. And then we only need this to be not even that much. And that's probably that's maybe a little far. That's not too terribly bad. We'll bring this out on the X slightly. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and tab into here, and we'll just add a couple of loop cuts. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab these. There we go. Just to kind of give that a little bit of character there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to inset like so. Oops. There we go. And then we're going to do like that. And extrude that out again. There we go. And then we'll just go like that. There we go. Perfect. And then I think there's a way to parent these. Parent. There we go. Oh goodness. Alright, so we definitely have to oh, there we go. There we go, that's why. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and we'll grab this. Actually, we're going to do this. We'll shift D. Move this on the X, and then we're going to scale it on the X -1. And that should... Oh, you know what? We needed to duplicate this as well. There we go. There we go. And that'll allow us to do that. I'm going to grab this and move it on the X. And then we're going to put this into position. Got a little longer than our 30 minutes, but this is almost done at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll line this up. There we go. And we need this one and that one and that one. There we go. And grab that on the X as well and move that like so. And then we're going to grab this one. And we're going to move it kind of right in the center there. There we go. So we've got our axle kind of poking through there, which gives it a nice kind of oops. There we go. A nice kind of look to it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab these. There we go. And I'm going to scale those. Maybe like that. No, I'm going to have to scale those individually. So let's just select these three. There we go. And we're going to scale this. How much are we scaling here? There should be a... Oh, there we go. Let's go 1.5. There we go. And then we'll grab it and move it slightly on the X. There we go, so that our axle pokes through. And then we'll do the same over here. There we go, and move it slightly on the X. There we go, perfect. Alright, so there's our cart. I'm going to go ahead and we'll look at materials here, and we're just going to grab this one and kind of give it a nice wood shade. Kind of bring that down a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to do the same with these. It's not doing that. There we go. Let's go ahead. I think there's a way to copy this. Nope. Alright, well, there's definitely a way to do it. I'm just not sure exactly how to. So, there we go. We'll just apply these all to the global material. Oops, we want material. There we go. Alright, and that is how you make a handcart. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video and want to learn more, stay tuned as I'm continuing to develop these different assets, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care everyone. Ta-ta.